You're listening to Audiology. Support our work on Patreon and be sure to submit your requests for topics in the comments below. Accelerationism encompasses a wide range of ideas found in both the left and right political spheres, advocating for a rapid increase in capitalist growth, technological advancements, and even the deliberate undermining of infrastructure. Its ultimate goal? To shake up existing systems and pave the way for profound societal changes, a process often simply called acceleration. It's like putting the pedal to the metal on society's transformation. On both ends of the political spectrum, accelerationists agree on pushing capitalism and technology to their limits, potentially leading to a future where technology grows so fast it becomes impossible to control or reverse, an event known as the technological singularity. The roots of accelerationism trace back to thinkers like Gilles Deleuze and Félix Guattari, with their concept of deterritorialization, Jean Baudrillard's fatal strategies, and ideas from English philosopher Nick Land, who later became a voice in the Dark Enlightenment movement. These thinkers helped shape a view of accelerationism that digs deep into the forces driving societal, economic, and technological shifts. However, the term has been hijacked by the far right in a stark departure from its original theorists. Groups like neo-fascists and white supremacists have twisted accelerationism to mean speeding up racial conflicts through violent acts, aiming to establish a white ethno-state. Accelerationism isn't just about politics tied to the economy anymore. It has entered conversations around humanism and artificial intelligence. Scholars such as Yuc Hui and Louis Morel and James Brousseau discuss how acceleration ties into the debate on AI, suggesting that the solution to AI's ethical dilemmas might be in pushing for even more innovation, not less. Then there's a movement known as effective accelerationism, short for effective accelerationism, which pushes for technological advancement at all costs. In essence, accelerationism is a complex, multifaceted concept that challenges us to think about the speed of societal change, the double-edged sword of technological advancement, and the ethical considerations we must navigate in our rapidly evolving world. The concept of accelerationism was first brought up by Benjamin Noyes, a professor and author, in his 2010 book, The Persistence of the Negative. He used it to describe a unique approach taken by some influential thinkers like Gilles Deleuze, Félix Guattari in their 1972 work Anti-Oedipus, Jean-François Lyotard in his 1974 Libidinal Economy, and Jean Baudrillard in his 1976 Symbolic Exchange and Death. These thinkers explored radical and untraditional Marxist ideas about how capitalist societies grow and change. Nick Land, an English philosopher often linked with the founding ideas of accelerationism, highlighted several philosophers in his 2017 piece, A Quick and Dirty Introduction to Accelerationism, who shared early versions of accelerationist thoughts. For instance, Friedrich Nietzsche once mentioned that we should not only allow but should hasten the process of leveling in European civilization. Inspired by Nietzsche, Deleuze and Guattari pondered on whether to withdraw from global markets or to dive deeper into capitalism's dynamics, suggesting that perhaps we haven't yet fully unleashed the disruptive and liberating potential of markets. Karl Marx, speaking in 1848, surprisingly prefigured accelerationist arguments by criticizing the conservative nature of protectionism and advocating for free trade, seeing it as a force that accelerates social upheaval and revolution. Nick Land views the rapidly changing modern world with its accelerating pace that leaves little time to think or decide as a result of unchecked capitalism. He sees capitalism as a cycle that fuels itself, where commercialization and industrialization boost each other in a process that seems to have no end. Land argues that diving deeper into capitalism and pushing its boundaries through creative destruction and technological advancement is the most effective way to harness and enhance its transformative power. He believes that capitalism's capacity for self-transformation and improvement is unmatched by non-capitalist systems, making acceleration through participation in capitalism an intrinsic feature of its evolution. From 1995 to 2003, the Cybernetic Culture Research Unit, or CCRU for short, was a trailblazing theory collective based at the University of Warwick. It was a melting pot of influential thinkers, including figures like Land, Mark Fisher, and Sadie Plant. Today, when we talk about key players in the contemporary left-wing accelerationist movement, names like Nick Cernicek and Alex Williams stand out. They're known for their work, Manifesto for an Accelerationist Politics, And then there's the Laboria Cubanix group, the brains behind the Xenofeminism: A Politics for Alienation manifesto. Mark Fisher, in his 2012 reflections, highlighted how Land's sharp critiques of the academic left still hit hard. He pointed out that even though Land's views can be seen as controversial, the core idea of Marxism aligns with accelerationist principles. Ariadne brings a unique perspective by merging the discussion of racial capitalism with accelerationism, suggesting that the division between humans, machines, and capital has been blurred, especially considering the historical impact of the Atlantic slave trade. Benjamin H. Bratton's work, The Stack on Software and Sovereignty, dives into how today's digital infrastructures are redefining traditional political boundaries, offering a vision for future possibilities. This concept is further connected to left-wing accelerationism by Tiziana Terranova in Red Stack Attack, where she draws parallels to Bratton's stack model. Left-wing accelerationism, also known as left/axi, is a concept often linked to Mark Fisher, who was previously part of the Cybernetic Culture Research Unit and a mentor to Nick Sanichek and Alex Williams. This approach focuses on how our modern society can push forward to create futures that are fair and freeing for everyone. Left-wing accelerationism shares its roots with other accelerationist ideas, but distinguishes itself by aiming to use these ideas to build an egalitarian future. Unlike previous forms that leaned towards experimentation, left-wing accelerationism has a more optimistic view towards achieving equality and liberation. However, this perspective has its critics. For instance, in an interview with The Guardian, Nick Land criticized this optimistic take by arguing that it's a major mistake to think that technology that advances on its own can be separated from capitalism. Since its creation in 2010, the term accelerationism has evolved and taken on new meanings, especially among right-wing extremist groups and terrorist organizations, leading to its occasional sensationalization. The concept has also been linked to a provocative political strategy attributed to Slavoj Žižek, a Slovenian philosopher, Freudo-Marxist theorist and author. A notable example of this is Žižek's statement during a November 2016 interview with Channel 4 News, where he mentioned that if he were an American citizen, he would have voted for Donald Trump, seeing him as the candidate more likely to shake up the existing political landscape in the United States. Even though the concept of accelerationism originally sprang from Marxist thought, it has been taken over by far-right groups, including neo-fascists, neo-Nazis, white nationalists, and white supremacists, particularly since the late 2010s. These groups have twisted accelerationism to mean hastening racial conflict through violence, like assassinations and terrorist attacks, to collapse society and establish a white ethno-state. This form of accelerationism, tied to far-right extremists, is considered a significant threat to public safety. A key influence on this dangerous ideology is James Mason, once a member of the American Nazi Party and National Socialist Liberation Front. Through his newsletter, Siege, Mason advocated for acts of sabotage and violence to break down the societal system he claimed was controlled by a Jewish and multicultural New World Order. Mason's ideas were later spread by websites such as the Iron March Forum and groups like the Atomwaffen Division, known for their involvement in multiple terrorist acts and violent crimes. The Southern Poverty Law Center, an organization monitoring hate groups and fighting discrimination, outlines that white supremacist accelerationists view modern society as beyond redemption. They argue for its collapse to pave the way for a racially pure fascist world. Central to their belief is that violence is a necessary tool to achieve their goals. Significant tragedies have been inspired by this twisted take on accelerationism, including the Christchurch mosque shootings by Brenton Harrison Tarrant, which resulted in 51 deaths and numerous injuries. Tarrant's actions, in turn, influenced other attackers such as John Timothy Ernest and Patrick Crusius, responsible for the Escondido mosque fire and the Poway synagogue shooting and the El Paso Walmart shooting, respectively. Each of these attackers drew on accelerationist rhetoric, advocating for societal destabilization through violence. Despite its far-right extremist adoption, accelerationism was never intended to inspire such hate-fueled violence. Initially, it was a concept rooted in critical theory. However, figures like Nick Land, closely associated with the original ideas of accelerationism, later showed interest in groups like the Order of Nine Angles, a theistic Satanist organization advocating neo-Nazi terrorist accelerationism. The Order of Nine Angles, led by British neo-Nazi David Myatt since 1974, has increasingly influenced militant neo-fascist and neo-Nazi groups connected with the international far-right extremist community, further showcasing the dangerous evolution of the accelerationism concept. Thanks for watching. Share your thoughts in the comments and subscribe for more content.